Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. My name's Lenny. I'm gonna be your host today, and what I'm gonna be covering is how to find a product to sell on Amazon in 2021. Now, the fundamentals of product research haven't changed too much over time, but the strategies and the ways that you go about doing so, or the tools that you use, do change. And that's what I'm gonna be covering today. I'm gonna be sharing the latest features from Jungle Scout to help make it easier for you to find profitable products to sell. So first, I'm going to go through the characteristics of what a good product looks like by using one of the Jungle Scout tools. I'm gonna show you a few of our latest features or a few tools that you may not have known about. Then after that, we're gonna go into a Q&A session for the last part of the webinar where you have the opportunity to answer or ask rather any questions that you might have, and I'll do my best to answer them. The Jungle Scout team is also in the chat box, so they're gonna be answering your questions as you go along as well. So without any further ado, let's dive in. All right, so the very first tool that I wanna show you is Opportunity Finder. It's within our product research section over here, if you're not familiar. And what the Opportunity Finder does is, like the name sounds or says, it helps you find a good opportunity or niche on Amazon. So let's go through a demonstration. That's gonna be the easiest way to explain what Opportunity Finder does. So you start out by selecting the marketplace. We've got a whole bunch here. I'm gonna select the United States because it's the largest and it's also where I'm located. Then you select the categories that you would like to search in. You can choose whatever combination of categories you would like, but some ones that I'd perhaps recommend staying away from when you're just starting out are these electronics type categories here. These have a lot more moving parts. There's a lot more chance of things going wrong with these kinds of products. Then you've got grocery and gourmet food. I'd recommend staying away from any products that go in or on the body. Again, that has higher risk associated. Then we have clothing, shoes, and jewelry. People tend to be a little more brand loyal in these categories, so it's usually easier to stay away from those as well when you first start out. Now let's come across to this next set of filters. So the primary piece of criteria that you need is you want to sell a product that has high demand. And so what that looks like here is the average monthly units sold, how many it sells per month. But essentially you want high demand. You want to make sure that there are people already out there that want the product that you're selling. You don't want to sell something just off of a hunch, okay? So for our example, I'm gonna put in a minimum of 300 sales per month. That works out to be about 10 sales per day, which is a good number to shoot for. Now, while you wanna make sure you've got high demand, the second piece of primary criteria is you wanna make sure you've got low competition so that you stand a chance of capturing part of that market. And the way that you measure that here in Opportunity Finder is this little competition slider down the bottom. So you'll see I've moved it from very low to low because I don't want too much competition. The next thing that is very important is your profit margins. You wanna make sure that the product you sell has healthy profits because you put in all of this work, whether it's not very profitable or very profitable. So you obviously wanna go for the latter. Now, one of the aspects to help with that is starting out with a sort of a healthy price point. There's more to profitability than that, but that's a good starting point. So for average monthly price, I'm gonna put in $18 to $70. Below $18, the profit margins tend to get very slim. Above $70-ish, or really just the higher your price point, the less likely people are going to make an impulse buy on a product or a brand that they don't know, or really a product that doesn't have many reviews. It's a lot harder to launch a higher price product because you've got no reviews, and people will be less likely to want to spend that much on something without many reviews. So we found that, roughly speaking, this is the sweet spot for the price point. The next piece of criteria that's really important is seasonality. So you want something that's not too seasonal, meaning that it will sell quite well throughout the year. That's why I've selected very low to medium. So on the lower end of, the lower end of the seasonality. And one thing to keep in mind here is that all products will have some degree of seasonality, okay? Some products will, often products will tend to sell a little bit better during the summer months or winter months, or like at a particular time of year. But what you don't want is something like a Christmas tree that is very seasonal, and it will only sell at the very end of the year and basically crickets or nothing throughout the rest of the year. So it's okay to have a little bit of seasonality, but you don't want that extreme seasonality. All right, on to the next one. Okay, the next section here is you've got the opportunity to add in keywords. This is helpful if you want to narrow down the searches a little bit more to something more specific. But my tip here would be to only add in 1 or maybe 2 keywords, because if you add more than that, it can get quite restrictive on your results. You won't return many results. Next to that, you've got the option of excluding keywords. This is really helpful, for instance, if you want to eliminate COVID products, hand sanitizer, that sort of thing. Okay, in this example, I'm gonna leave those open. You've got the option of excluding top brands like Nike, Apple, etc. if you choose. Then if you create a filter set here that you really like, you've got the option of coming up and hitting Save Filter so that you can come back and reload these filters later on. Or if you've got no idea where to start, you can always come up to Load Filter Set, and we've got a few presets here to get you started. So once you've done that, hit Search. Then as you come down here, you'll see the number of results that's returned at the top, the number of pages that you've got on the right-hand side. So let's talk through the information that you've got here on all of our results. So you've got the niches on the left here. These are really the keywords that people search on Amazon, and then all of this data sort of represents those keywords as a whole, or those niches as a whole. So you've got sort of the dominant category for the top listings on these keywords, the average monthly units sold for each of the listings underneath these keywords. Same again, the average monthly price for each of the listings under these keywords. Monthly search volume, this is essentially how much people are searching for this keyword. You've got the 30-day search trend, which refers to how much the search volume has changed in the last 30 days. And then next to that, how much it's changed over the past 90 days. I don't listen too much to the 30-day trend. I sometimes look a little bit more at the 90-day trend to see these longer term trends, but it's an interesting data point to sort of keep in the back of your mind. You've got the competition levels, which is fairly self-explanatory. You want very low to low. Niche score is essentially a score out of 10 as to how good of a niche or an opportunity it is, with 1 being a poor opportunity and 10 being a great one. Then you've got seasonality. So this tells you how seasonal the product is. Again, we want this to be very low to low. Underneath that, it's got the top selling month. All right, so let's open one of these up so that we can get an idea of what we've got here. One other thing to note is that you can actually click on this little Amazon button and that will take you to Amazon and perform the search for that keyword, just to give you a visual of what we're looking at. So when we're looking at all this data and information for Purina 1 salmon cat food, it's interpreting all of this data here on the search term on Amazon. All right, so what have we got here? Here we've got a whole bunch of historical data. You'll see that the first tab here is average units sold, and we can go all the way back to September 2019. So why is this helpful? Well, this is really helpful because it tells you how much this product has been selling, so that it can help you predict how much you might be likely to sell in the future if you were to be selling a similar product. So this is interesting. You can kind of see it was selling quite consistently, about 1,500, 2,000 units per month. And then in June 2020, that just shot through the roof. I guess people were staying at home at that point. Then it's stayed, kind of through the roof throughout 2020. And just this last month, it's still in the middle of January, so I discount this one, but possibly it's coming down. So this gives you a lot of great information to kind of get an idea of what this opportunity is doing as a whole. The next tab that you've got here is the average price. So again, historical data all the way back to September 2019, and we can see how the price has changed. So you'll see at the same time as all of the units, as the demand went through the roof and they were selling a lot more, it looks like they bumped up their price a little bit to try to keep up with the demand. So that's always interesting to see, because I guess you essentially wouldn't want to see a price declining too much over time. Next up, we've got search volume. So this is the search volume on Amazon itself. And that is always really quite interesting to see. You'll see there was a bit of a spike here during sort of March to April 2020. And this can be a good indicator of seasonality or a product that is trending. So trending up is good. You don't necessarily want to see it trending down and less people searching for it. Keep in mind as well, with a lot of these, you can actually change the date range that you're looking at here from like 1 month up to 2 years. So keep that in mind with all of these different sections. Next up, we've got seasonality. So this is similar to search volume in terms of it gives you an indicator of how this product is trending, but rather than being based off of Amazon search volume, this is more off of Google search volume. So this is kind of looking at this particular keyword as in sort of a broader, more general sense. So it's not as specific to Amazon, but it's another good data point to kind of mix in with the other information that you've got here. Then you'll see over here on the right, you've got the overall seasonality. So it's saying low seasonality, meaning it's fairly well distributed throughout the year, with March being the peak month. And again, remember, it's okay to have a little bit of seasonality. So in this instance, this would be fine, because overall it's a low seasonality. The final tab that we've got here is top products. So what this is, this actually shows the top listings underneath this keyword or niche. So it's displaying all these listings here. Now, why is this important and what do you want to do with this information? Well, firstly, you'll see that you've got a lot of similar information to before. Now on the left here, we've got the specific listings. We have the ASIN. If you're not aware of what that is, that's just a unique identifier that Amazon gives to every single listing. In this case, you can actually click on the ASIN and that will take you to one of the other Jungle Scout tools, Keyword Scout, where you can perform keyword research And what this will actually do is it will search for and tell us all of the keywords that this particular listing ranks for or ranks well for. So that's really helpful when you're creating your own listing and figuring out what keywords to use. You can perform this reverse ASIN search on one of your competitors. However, I don't want to get too bogged down into that because product research is more the focus of today's webinar, but do just know that there's some great interconnectivity here. You can click on this one to go search on Keyword Scout. You've got the option of opening up this individual listing on Amazon by again clicking the category. You've got the number of monthly sales revenue. You've got the price, the number of reviews, the date first available for this particular listing, which is a good piece of data to have sometimes, and the average star rating of that listing. Okay, so now what do we want to do with this information? Well, the reason I would use this or check this out is because this up here, this again gives us the average of all of these products. So this is the average monthly units sold of all of these combined. And then this is the average monthly price of all of these combined. While that's a great starting point, you want to dive in and check out these specific listings to determine a number of things. The first thing I'd be looking for is how well distributed is the sales and how well distributed is the reviews. So what I want to see is that I want to see that the sales here are reasonably well distributed so that all these listings or most of these listings are getting a healthy number of sales. What I don't want to see is one or two listings that are getting, 90-95% of the sales and the other listings all getting only a very small fraction. Because what that means is, even if I was to get on the first page of search results or in the top 10 search results, I'm still probably not gonna make any sales or basically any sales because for whatever reason, this one or two top listings are taking the lion's share of the sales. It's, quite often, there usually will be one or two listings that will have higher sales than everyone else, which is okay as long as there's still some healthy looking sales for everyone else. So that's what I'm looking for in the sales. So you'll see here, this one listing here has got very, very low sales. This one here has 5,000 sales. Then below that, we've got 600, 500, 1,000, 1,300. So this is more what I'm looking for. I'm okay if one listing has 5,000 sales, if I can see a whole bunch of the others underneath are still getting at least 500 to 1,000. That means that there's still room within that market, even if this top guy is getting most of the sales. So that's what I'm looking for, wanting to see the sales well distributed. Then the same thing for the competition. So Opportunity Finder has told me that overall, this opportunity has very low competition. But remember, this is the average of all of these top listings. What I want to see here is I want to make sure that there's not too many listings that have thousands of reviews like this one here that do make it very hard to break into this market. What I think has happened here is that we've got some listings that have some really high reviews, nearly 2,000, 1,100, and then we have a handful of other listings with like 6 reviews, 3 reviews that have brought that average review number down so that it falls into the category of low competition. So that's why it's really important at this point to be then taking that extra step to dive into the top listings to determine, is it really low competition or not? My personal opinion for this particular product, I would say you know, this looks a little bit too scary for me, a bit of a red flag. You know, again, 1,100 reviews, 500, 700. Those are a little bit too competitive for my liking. It would take a lot of money and a lot of resources to break into this particular market, okay? As a rule of thumb, you'd sort of want at least under 100 reviews for at least the top 5 or 6 listings there. Maybe 1 or 2 can be a little bit higher than that, but you do want the majority of them to be under 100, or better still, even under 50 if you can. So yeah, that's a rule of thumb, and that's why I look at the number of reviews here. Then I'd go through, do the same thing with the price. It's saying up here the average monthly price is $31. I just want to verify that and make sure that it's not just one listing, one high-priced listing that's bringing the average up. But here I see $20, $21, $23, $20, $30. So yeah, I can see everything here is above $20. Remember, I kind of am shooting for a minimum of $18. So I can see that these are all at least above 20, which is a preliminary sort of good sign to me. So I'm happy with that one. So those are the things that I'm looking at for these top products. What do you do next when you've found an opportunity that you like? What's the next step? Well, what I would do is I would select all of these listings. So you can select all the listings here, and then you would add them to the product tracker, which is one of the other Jungle Scout tools. So if I click on this one, I can either add them to an existing product group, or I can come down and create a new product group. So I'm just gonna call it cat food, create and add. All right, now we're gonna shift gears and talk about the product tracker and why you would want to use that one. So let's come over to product research. We're gonna go to product tracker. Let me bring this guy up. Okay. So this is the product tracker here. What would you use it for? Well, what the product tracker does is that, let me back up. The first stage of product research is just finding and generating product ideas. It's better not to just find one product idea and kind of run with it. You're better off just having an open mind, doing a lot of product research and just generating lots of different product ideas, even if you're not completely sure about them. Generate lots and lots and lots of ideas, okay? Then you take each of those ideas, you create a group for them in the product tracker so that you're building up a list of these potential ideas. That's the first stage, generate ideas. The second stage is then to narrow down and verify which ones are gonna be the best opportunities. And that's what the product tracker can help you with. Let me demonstrate. So, first thing you see at the top here, we've got the individual groups. So imagine these are each of the different product ideas that I've found. And you'll see if I scroll all the way over here, I've got the cat food that I just created. Then let's go into one of these examples. You can see underneath, we've got each of the individual listings that have been added to this group. And you'll see we've got a lot of the same information. The product information there, the price, the average daily rank, daily sales, revenue, etc. So a lot of the same information as before. And these are in fact averages based off of the time, the date range that you select here. So you can go from 1 month. If you look at 1 month, this has had average daily sales of 23 per day. And you'll see that it updates as you expand the date range. Now, let's open this up and talk about what we've got here. All right, so lots of really fun data to kind of break down. So what Product Tracker does is that it gives you daily sales information, daily sales numbers for each of these individual listings. What this means is that you can be really confident in how well a product is selling. For instance, if you were just to check the sales numbers on this particular day here, you'll see that it's selling 108 units on that particular day. If you just went, great, this product's gonna sell 100 units a day, and you go out and buy thousands of this product, you could be setting yourself up for failure when in fact that was just a high point at the time and the trend has come down or it's not selling as well, etc. So by having a broad range of data, a lot of daily sales data like this, you can be a lot more confident in the average daily sales. So you can see here just by glancing at the graph that the average daily sales is somewhere around this mark, 50 to 60, or you can, it's calculated for you up here, 50 sales per day. So that is a much more accurate estimate of how many items you could be selling if you were to sell this same product. That's why the product tracker is really powerful to help you really narrow down and be confident in a product before you pull the trigger and spend thousands of dollars ordering it. You can also identify other trends as well. So this one's interesting. It goes back to the start of August or the end of July last year, and it was selling a lot at the time, and it looked like it's actually trending down. It's actually quite interesting because if you guys have been following the $1 Million Case Study here on YouTube, this was in fact a product that Kerry and I were looking at back in the early stages of product research. And we really liked this product because when we were first looking at it, it was having this crazy amount of demand like you can see here. And it didn't have too many reviews and that sort of thing. So we didn't mind this product, but we leaned away from it because we were worried that it might only be a sort of COVID type product that might phase out at some point. And it's interesting now looking back, I can see, I'm going to assume based off of this trend that that's exactly what's happened. This product isn't as popular as it was earlier on at the start of the lockdown and COVID. For anyone that's wondering what this product is, because I think I remember seeing some questions asking about it on the $1 Million Case Study, but I don't even really understand it properly. But essentially there are these big yard signs with happy birthday on them, and because everyone was in quarantine and they couldn't have birthday parties, they would put these signs on their lawn, and then I think cars would go by and honk to say happy birthday or whatever, is my understanding, something like that. But yeah, looks like people aren't as interested in them perhaps. So that's an interesting little bit of trivia on the side. So anyway, you can determine a lot of great information by diving into the daily sales data. Let's close this guy down. We'll take a look at another one. This is actually another good example of, again, just by having this data in front of you, you can instantly be pretty satisfied and tell that okay, cool. Over a really great sample period of time, you can see that this product has consistently sold around that 85 units per day mark, okay? You don't have to be worried oh, is it gonna go down or go up? You've got a really nice healthy amount of data to check. So that's why you would use the product tracker. Now, if you come to the top here, you can open up this overview. This gives you average numbers for all of these listings. So that's a great little snapshot. You can download all this information into a CSV file to check out later on. So that one's handy. Now I'm gonna show you the overview tab. This is the other part of product tracker. And I really like this. What I would use this for is when you've got a number of different product ideas that you've been looking at, this gives you the averages for each of those individual groups or product ideas. So if you've got 4 or 5 ideas that you quite like, this gives you the chance to compare all of them against each other, side by side. So this might help you narrow down from 4 or 5 ideas to the top 1 or top 2 ideas or whatever the case may be. And if you'd like to see an example of me going through this, make sure to check out the $1 Million Case Study. I believe it was episode 3 where Kerry and I did just this. We were looking at this information here, looking at our top product ideas, and then we were weighing things up, going, okay, out of these top ideas, which ones have the highest daily sales? That's obviously important. But then at the same time, which ones have the lowest average reviews? Because we want one with less competition. But then also we wanted to make sure like, okay, what is the average price for all of these? So we're kind of like ticking off which ones had kind of the best score in each of these different areas, hoping to kind of marry all of that information together in order to determine the final product to go with. So that is how I would use Product Tracker. All right, I'm gonna move on and show you the next tool that I'd recommend you guys checking out. And that one is the Jungle Scout extension. Now this is our first and oldest tool. This is the one that most people probably know about. So it's an extension that runs on Google Chrome and it runs live on Amazon. So if you've got a product idea that you're wondering how well it sells, you can just jump onto Amazon, click search, and then you can run the extension to get instantaneous numbers or a snapshot of this complete opportunity. This is really good if you've got some ideas of what you'd like to sell. If you've got no ideas of what you'd like to sell, that's where the opportunity finder is really great because it gives you ideas. The extension will help you verify or check out ideas that you already have in mind. Now, for a quick refresher on the extension here, you run this one. You'll again see very similar fields to what we've been talking about, the product name, you see the brand, you'll see price, monthly sales, daily sales, the date first available, the number of reviews. You'll see all of this really great information. So this is no surprise, this is very similar to what we've been talking about. You can sort by any of this information. So you can sort by, which one has the highest number of sales down or by any of this criteria. In addition to that, over on the left-hand side here, you've got the option to add these individual listings to your product tracker. So that's really handy. You can do that directly from here. You can also look up, you can also go direct to Keyword Scout to do that reverse ASIN search that I mentioned earlier. And you can even find a supplier for this product or try to. What this does is it takes you to supplier database. This is one of our other tools that will help you either find a new supplier or verify one that you've found elsewhere. So lots of great interconnectivity between the extension and Jungle Scout or within all of the tools, just to save you time and make it easier for you to perform product research the way that you want to do it. There's more that you can do here within the extension. So I can come up, I can customize my view. So down here under this extension column, I can choose which fields of info or which columns of information I want to see. So yeah, again, choose which results you would like to see. Again, at the top, you get a great snapshot of this opportunity and what we call the opportunity score, which is a score out of 10, just to give you a very initial idea of what this product or how good of an opportunity this is, with of course, higher numbers being better opportunities. But like I've mentioned earlier, you just want to use this as a starting point, but really dive into the individual listings and the numbers here to to do further analysis. All right, but while it's great to run the extension, what if you could just be browsing Amazon at any point in time and you didn't have to run the extension and you just got the numbers to show up? Well, as you might have guessed, you can actually do that. Some of you might have even seen this already. But when you've got the extension installed on your computer, you'll get these little boxes underneath your Amazon listings here that give you all the most important information about that listing. You've got the ASIN and the ability to copy the ASIN, which if you've been doing product research for a while now, you'll know that's super handy. There's so many times that you need to copy the ASIN of a product, so it makes it easy to find that. Normally you'd have to go into the listing and go into the URL or scroll to the bottom of the page. Got monthly sales. You've got how it ranks in its categories. Daily sales, revenue, date first available. Again, you're seeing a lot of this same information, but we're trying to present it to you in different places or just wherever it's most handy for you. Again, at the very top here, you've got the option of being taken back to Keyword Scout to find out if I'm just looking through Amazon and I wanna know what keywords does this product rank for. I can just click this button and it'll take me to Keyword Scout. If I wanna add it to the product tracker, again, I can just do it right here. So that is really helpful, but what is even better is that you can customize this view. Because you might be like, hey Lenny, that's great, but that's like too big of a box. I don't even care about the rank or I don't care about the date first available. Well, you can customize this. So that's what this column here on the right does. So here I can choose exactly what information I want to display. So if I want it to be more minimal, I can, just choose the bits of information that are most relevant for you. And then you'll see that automatically here, okay? So with the new Jungle Scout features and tools here, we're just trying to make product research as customizable and as easy as possible. So you don't have to be clicking around into the extension if you don't want to. You can just have that information appear right there on the search page. But it gets even a little bit better. What if you were browsing and you could just be doing your own daily shopping, and let's click onto a listing. What about if you're just doing your own shopping and you had the thought, like I've had many times before, where I'm wondering, actually, what if, I wonder, does this product sell well on Amazon? Well, in fact, now you can see that information here on the product detail pages. You'll see at the very top here, again, I've got the ASIN, I can go to Keyword Scout, I can send it to the product tracker, I can see the monthly number of sales, date first available, all this information in a very unobtrusive way at the top. Better yet, you can actually expand this. And now I've got historical data. So if I'm wondering how well is this product sold, I can just click through monthly sales, daily sales, go all this way back. How has the price changed over time? And even the rank if I want to see that. Then all of these fields that we've been talking about before, monthly sales, even the fees, date first available, etc., are all here over on the right-hand side. But if this is too big, too unobtrusive, you don't need this here all the time if you're just doing your everyday shopping. You can close it down so that it's out of the way and it doesn't affect you. But at any point that you do want that information, you can bring it up super easy. Also, keep in mind, in the future, you will be able to customize this information as well. Not currently, but in the future, check back maybe at the time that you're watching this video in the future, you'll be able to customize this so that you can see exactly which information is most important to you. So, that covers the latest and greatest features from Jungle Scout, just to make it easier for you to perform product research. Now, if you're interested in getting Jungle Scout yourself, then make sure to head to junglescout.com/pricing. And let me bring that one up for you guys. All right, make sure to head to junglescout.com/pricing to check out all of Jungle Scout's plans. You'll see 3 options here are basic, suite, and professional. Basic starts at $49 per month, but keep in mind that you can actually get it for $29 per month if you pay annually. So you get a great saving there. Also keep in mind that Jungle Scout is more than just a product research tool. I know that's been the topic of today's webinar. And I think if it was just product research alone, I think this, the prices are actually pretty impressive for what you're getting just, from product research alone. But Jungle Scout is a lot more than that. We're an all-in-one platform to help you sell well on Amazon. So let's check out what else we've got here. So we've talked a lot about the product research tools today, but in addition, you've got supplier tools. So I mentioned briefly supplier database. This helps you find new suppliers or verify existing ones. You've got keyword tools, such as Keyword Scout. So this is an example of the reverse ASIN search that I mentioned that you can access from, anywhere basically. You can just click that button, come here to Keyword Scout, and it will tell you all of the top keywords that this particular product ranks for, okay? So this is super handy if you're launching your own product. I would put in my competitors' ASIN here, find out what the top keywords that they're ranking for, and then you can save them into a list so that you can put them in your listing, or you can advertise on Amazon for those particular keywords. Really, really powerful. Not gonna go into it today, but keywords are like the lifeblood of your Amazon listing, and Keyword Scout is the top industry tool for doing keyword research. So that again is another game-changing tool. You can save all of these keywords in a list. You've got Listing Builder here to make it really easy for you to build out your listing once you've got those keyword lists. You've got a rank tracker. What that does is that it means that you can track your keyword ranking for your product as well as your competitors to see how you compare to each other, whether your ranking is going up or theirs is, and vice versa. So that is another really handy tool. We move down the list. There's still more, guys. We've got the marketing section. So here you can create email campaigns to contact your your customers. You've got promotions tools. You've got review automation as well. You essentially just click a button. I don't know why mine's not appearing, but with a click of a button, we're gonna automatically reach out to your customers through Amazon's system and automate the review automation process. Basically, you're gonna get more reviews by using this feature. Then we move into sales analytics. And why is my screen not showing? All right, here we go. So sales analytics is really helpful. This basically, it pulls in all of your Amazon sales data, and it tells you all of your profits, expenses, revenue, all of that in one dashboard. You can add in additional expenses. So while we pull in all of your Seller Central costs, you can actually add in individual ones that are, off Amazon expenses as well, so that you can get an overview of how your business is doing as a whole, or you can check out how each of your individual products is doing. So yeah, company view or individual product view. It's like a little command center. This is like where, when I log into my account, this is where I come at the start of each day just to kind of see how the business is performing. So sales analytics is great. We've got a manage product section, which is led by inventory manager. So you definitely don't want to run out of stock. An inventory manager, essentially once you fill out all the information, it just tells you when to send in more stock to make sure that you don't miss out on any sales. So that one is really powerful as well, but there's still a little bit more to go. We've got the Jungle Scout Academy, which is a lot of really great education. We've got the Selling on Amazon A to Z series, which is essentially a full course on how to sell on Amazon. Each of these modules is broken up into a whole bunch of lessons. We've also got in-depth tutorials for all of the tools that I've mentioned and I've gone through today. So you'll never get stuck when it comes to knowing how to use our tools. We also hold regular onboarding webinars. So if you become a Jungle Scout member, you'll get invited to an onboarding session where we wanna make sure that you're set up for success and that you understand how to use each of our tools. So we've got a lot of videos, a lot of great training to help you get started and make the most from Jungle Scout. We've talked about the extension today a little bit, and then the other tool as well, or maybe not so much a tool, but the Jungle Scout Market. This is a marketplace for all the best Amazon freelancers. Think of Fiverr, but for Amazon FBA specifically. So all these freelancers have been vetted by our team, and they all have experience working with Amazon sellers, so they understand the needs of an Amazon seller, the requirements on Amazon, all that sort of thing. So this is a really great resource as well. And in fact, you don't even need to be a Jungle Scout member in order to access this. So even if you don't choose to become a Jungle Scout member, you should definitely take advantage of the Jungle Scout Market. Now, all these things that I've talked about today, these are all included, where is it? All included in our plans here. So now you've got more of an idea of what is included here. Again, keep in mind you can save a lot of money by paying yearly, because once you get started selling on Amazon, we do have all the tools to help you make sure that you're successful, keeping in stock, keeping on top of how well your business is performing. All right, so again, junglescout.com/pricing if you're interested in checking that one out. But now for the next 15 minutes, I'm gonna dive into a live Q&A, and I'm gonna check out what questions you guys might have. For some reason my chat isn't showing up, so let me bring that one up. So if you've got any questions for me, make sure you drop them in the chat box now. They're meant to be appearing on my iPad, but doesn't look like that's happening. All right, looks like I've tracked them down here. So let's see. Lots of comments. Shane says, when is it best to use product database versus opportunity finder? This is a great question. So again, I said at the earlier on, first you wanna generate product ideas. Secondly, you wanna narrow those down. So opportunity finder and product database both help you generate product ideas. Really, you don't use one or the other in different situations. You essentially, you kind of use both, or you can use either. Maybe for a good example, maybe check out the $1 Million Case Study. I think it's like episodes 2 and 3, we're doing product research. We did some product research in the product database, then we did some more in Opportunity Finder. They're really just different. Opportunity Finder really narrows down to a particular keyword or a niche, whereas product database will just show you individual listings. So when you use product database and see individual listings that match your criteria, you do want to do a little more digging. And by that, what I would do is click to view that listing on Amazon. I would then search for whatever I think that product is. In the example before, it was cat food. So I would then search for cat food, and then I would do that analysis of the top 10 listings. So it's really the same process. Product database does have kind of that extra step, but it does also generate different results. So not one or the other, I would try out both and see which one you like better. Dale says, is this for branded items or private labels? Good question. This can be applied to any sort of method that you choose when selling on Amazon, whether it's you're looking for wholesale opportunities or wanting to do retail arbitrage or private label. Most commonly, we talk about private label here at Jungle Scout because we feel that if you're looking for a long-term sort of scalable business, that does give you more control over your products and your business, and it gives you the highest profit margin typically when compared to wholesale or retail arbitrage. Retail arbitrage is more a way of perhaps starting out on Amazon, learning the ropes, or raising some capital at the beginning, because that one isn't as scalable as you need to be constantly finding new products in discount bins and that kind of thing. There are some people that are really successful with wholesale, or they've got maybe a combination of wholesale private label, which works as well. So you can apply everything I've talked about to really any of these strategies. Okay. Ben H says, are there any plans for Jungle Scout to roll out a mobile app as well? I'm just gonna say stay tuned for that one. Okay, let's see. People, I'm gonna go back through some earlier questions. Looks like there's a conversation here about China. Should we be concerned with the increasing number of China-based sellers, factories who are listing prices lower than we can? I mean, yes, they're definitely seeing more and more Chinese sellers on Amazon. I still think there's still so much opportunity there that there's still room for US sellers, or people outside of China to do really, really well on Amazon. So there is more increased competition overall, but you look at the market, and in 2020, the number of online sales just kind of skyrocketed, particularly on Amazon. So there's just a lot more demand there, which means there's more opportunity for people, for more sellers to enter the space. So I wouldn't be concerned, no, is kind of my answer to that one. Okay. Fabiana asks, what is the order of the listings that the Jungle Scout extension and the product tracker results show? So on the Jungle Scout extension, the order is just the order that they appear on the page. It doesn't do anything to that initial order. So let's see, I'll bring up an example. Okay. So when you initially do a search, this order here is just the order that it's displayed on the page here. So of course you can then sort it however you want, from like high sales to low sales, whatever the case may be. If you ever want to go back to the default order, it's this number here. This is just how it's displayed on the page. Then when it comes to product tracker, actually that's a good question. I don't know offhand how, if there's a particular order. I think it might just be, I don't believe there's a specific order on product tracker. It might just be the order in which they were added. I don't think, by default anyway, I don't think there's a particular order. Okay. So let's see, Sajad says, I would suggest the UK market, less competition and more opportunities there. I'll just speak to that for a moment. Yeah, definitely the UK market is a great one. By far, the US is the biggest. And so maybe I'll address the question of like, which marketplace should I sell in? And at Jungle Scout, what we tell people is sell in the marketplace that you're most familiar or comfortable in. So that might be a marketplace that exists in your own country. So if you live in the UK, then it's probably gonna be easier for you and more comfortable to sell in the UK, at least first, while you're learning the ropes. You understand that market, you understand how to set up a business, or the tax business implications in your own country. That's probably the path of least resistance to get started. If Amazon isn't in your own country, or you don't have one, a preferred marketplace, then I would probably just say sell in the US because it is the largest marketplace and there's a lot of opportunity there. But you can find opportunity in all of the Amazon marketplaces, so keep that in mind. Ashkar says, how can I open an account in the US for Wholesale FBA? What I'd recommend actually is going into our YouTube channel, hitting search, and then typing in Wholesale. Greg does a really great video talking through the wholesale process and how to get started if you're interested in that method. All right, I'll see if there's a couple more questions here. Big shout out to the Jungle Scout team in the chat box answering all these questions. You guys are amazing, making my job easier. Okay, here's a more recent one. Mohammed says, how long should you put the product in the product tracker? So when you add products to the product tracker, sometimes if it's been tracked in the past, and here at Jungle Scout, we are always constantly tracking new products every day because we want to make sure that data is available as quickly as possible for everyone. But keep in mind that the product tracker tracks in real time from when a product is added. So there might be times where you add a product and you'll get a little message saying, please come back in 48 hours. Don't get scared or don't worry. That just means that it's never been tracked before and we need the first couple of days to start collecting data to give you. So you might get that message from time to time. Other times you might see that there's already a lot of data there. If it's a new product that hasn't been tracked before, my rule of thumb is aim for at least 2 weeks worth of data before you make a decision. Try to track, at least the top 15, 20 listings for your niche for at least 2 weeks. Ideally more. If you can have a month or more of data, that's gonna be better, but at least 2 weeks, so that you've got a reasonable amount of days to base a decision off of. Basically, the more information you have, the better. Okay. Mozinga says, any plan for a Jungle Scout tool that shows listings that do not have brand registry so we can join it without being blocked? Okay, that's an interesting idea. So yeah, I don't believe you can't necessarily segment listings that don't have brand registry, but the closest thing that we have to that is called the LQS score. I didn't go through that one today, but the LQS score is a score out of 10 based off of how good a listing quality is. So listing quality score, with 1 being a poor listing, 10 being a great listing. So this is based off of things like how well they filled out their title. Have they used all their bullet points and filled out as much of that real estate as possible? Have they filled out their description? How many images have they utilized? All those things combined give you the LQS, listing quality score. So one thing you can do is look for listings that have high demand, as always, but at the same time, a low listing quality score. So that means that people are still buying this product or this listing, regardless of the fact that the listing quality is quite poor. This gives you perhaps a marketing opportunity to come out with the same product, but improve upon the listing quality, have better images, fill out all your bullet points and title and description, etc. So that's a great filter that you can use currently. But I think the point here was if you could search for listings that don't have brand registry, then you can come in with brand registry. What this allows you to access is something called enhanced brand content, or sorry, I think it's called A+ content now, where I'm sure everyone's probably seen this before, but it gives you all these additional text and images down in the listing, which help you really stand out. And even Amazon says that this does improve your conversions. So if you've got brand registry competing against a product that doesn't, then you've probably got a good chance of higher conversions. But currently we can't differentiate those two, but we do have a listing quality score that analyzes a listing overall. All right, I'm going to answer one more question. Let's see. Okay, last question of the day is from Anne. How can I find the US suppliers, and how can I know that the suppliers in Alibaba are authorized by Amazon? All right, let's take a look. Okay, I'm gonna briefly show you supplier database. So what this does is that it collects all of the import records within the United States. So products that come into the United States, there are import records for them, and this is publicly searchable data, but we've brought it inside of here to make it easier for you to find. So if I do an example like backpack, this is my favorite one. Now we're seeing these are the companies that have imported, a product matching this particular description. So what we can see, a supplier. So we can see their top customers here in the US. We can see a breakdown of the materials of their products. We can even come down here and we can see specific information about when these shipments took place. And so in a lot of our material, and particularly if you join Jungle Scout and you go to the Jungle Scout Academy, we've got a whole section on this, but supplier database is great at helping you verify suppliers that have worked with US clients before. So this looks good to me, that this particular supplier has had 49 shipments into the US, 24 different customers. And the reason that I say this is important is because different countries and continents have different product standards. The standards of products in the US is quite high compared to some other parts of the world. So you want to work with a supplier that has experience working with US clients. So that's why this looks like a good thing to me versus if maybe there's an example here of either I can't find them or they've only had one shipment here. It doesn't necessarily rule them out because there are some ways and there are some times where their shipments don't get logged here, but yeah, I'm looking for suppliers that have a good history working in the US. And I think the other part of the question was, how do I know that the suppliers on Alibaba are authorized by Amazon? Basically, suppliers don't need to be authorized by Amazon. There's no process for them to be authorized by Amazon, or really it's about you doing your due diligence in determining whether it's a good supplier to work with or not. All right, so that's a very quick overview of the supplier database, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea. Again, check out the Jungle Scout Academy to learn more about finding a supplier and using supplier database. And we've also got some material here on YouTube. Check out, I believe it's episode number 4 of the $1 Million Case Study to see my process, and also with Carrie, of finding suppliers and the different considerations. So I'm gonna wrap it up there today. I hope you guys have got some value from today's episode. If you have, make sure to give me a thumbs up down below. Also, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do that and hit the little bell icon so that you get notified every time we post a new video. Thank you so much for joining today. I really appreciate you guys. Hope you got lots of value today. All the very best with your product research, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.